Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the From Adversity to Awakening show. I'm your host, Peggy O'Neill. I'm so glad you're here. Today I have a very special guest, Sam Morris, ta-da. And Sam is going to share with us his story about moving from adversity to awakening, transforming his hardships into greater spiritual connection and joy. So welcome, Sam. Before I
Thank you, Peggy.
yeah, nice to see you. So Sam and I met at
Nice to see
HEL
you.
a couple months ago, the Association of Transformational Leaders, and he had a very stellar presence, and we got to chatting. We had a very meaningful conversation. I asked him to come enlighten you all about enlighten you from his perspective, his wisdom that he's gained through his life. So Sam is the owner and presenter and the generator of an organization called Zen Warrior Training, and he helps individuals and teams and corporation and other places to bring in leadership mindset. So this is an awesome, empowering thing. And I also love that Sam, I have to read it, is a ambassador of No Barriers USA, which empowers people with disabilities to live with no boundaries. So Sam is, you can't see, in a wheelchair. He's had an accident 24 years ago, and for the last 10 years, he has discovered his inner light and been shining it into the world. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Peggy.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's so great to be here with you.
yeah, nice to be here with
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
I would love for you to share with our audience who are eager to hear your story. It's so compelling. I can little, what do they call that? Spoiler alert. Um, about your journey with having adversity, like how the biggest adversity that or adversities that you have experienced in your life and how that impacted you from at the beginning and
Yeah.
about then the transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. So my big adversity started a little over 24 years ago, which was I just got to the point, since I'm 48 right now, I just got to the point where I've now spent more of my life paraplegic than I did before then. But
Mhm.
I was 24 when the accident that left me paraplegic happened. I was riding the backseat of a car of a driver with a driver who'd been drinking. He lost control of the car, went off the road, hit a tree, and my spine broke at the level of T12, which is around where your belly button is. So I became completely paralyzed, no sensation, no motor function from that point down when that happened. And I just finished cycling across the United States when that happened. So I was really athletic. I was not this type of person who was just sitting around all day.
Yeah.
I was
And
someone who was using his legs all the time. It was not just walking, but cycling, snowboarding, skiing, etc. It was my whole lifestyle and whole identity really revolved around the use of my entire body. I was 6'3". Suddenly I'm in a wheelchair.
and your eye
But that
level
was
with
only the
me, and
beginning.
your eye
Oh, go
level with
ahead.
me, and your eye level with me.
No, I'm eye level with you. Exactly. 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 Maybe even a little bit taller, actually.
Yeah, you are.
but
Yeah.
uh but yeah, I not only that was just kind of the beginning of the adversity, actually. And what many people don't realize is that I spent years in and out of hospitals with bed sores, which turned into large ulcers, which I had to have surgery on. And I actually spent over 2 years completely immobilized in hospital beds, completely dependent on care from nurses and doctors, et cetera. And so that was really where the adversity went from pretty intense to really intense, when I was immobilized and spending months and months and months with no life and no ability to do anything for myself. And so that was really the most challenging part of it.
And
And the
it's like,
longest time that I ever, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you went from one really big extreme to one very far. I mean, the pendulum couldn't have been further, really,
Yeah,
from
pretty
super
much.
athlete
Exactly.
to completely helpless.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, what an incredible blow to the ego when
Yeah.
people crashing and shattering of your sense of who you are.
Yeah. 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 And I don't think I really understood just how mm, powerful egoic identity actually is until that happened. And of course, when we say ego, we're not talking about anything related to arrogance whatsoever. I mean,
No.
I was quite, I was already very much, I suppose, on what we might call a spiritual path at that time, even though I didn't really look at it as such. I was very present, and I studied Buddhism, and I really understood the nature of attachment and how really, in order to be as present as we can, we have to be able to and willing to let go of things that are impermanent, to really embrace that life itself is impermanent. And all of these things made sense on a conceptual level to me. And I was very, for where I was at that time of my life, I was pretty far along the path of embodying this understanding. But then paralysis really took it to a whole other level, where I had to suddenly come to terms with, oh wow, I can understand this when it has to do with letting go of attachment to a girlfriend or letting go of attachment to a job or whatever. But when it comes to actually letting go of attachment to the function of 50% of your body, that's a whole other level of attachment, where it never even occurred to me that I would have to let go of attachment on that deep and profound a level.
So how was that for you to do that, to go through that?
It was challenging, very challenging. I'm not
Did you
one
have
to
like dark night of
really.
the soul? Did you get depressed? Did you?
Yeah, I did. I did. I'm not one to stay very long in a victim mindset,
Mhm.
but I certainly had a lot of very depressing moments. More so than depression, I suppose there was a lot of like listlessness
Uh-huh.
and fear, a fear of
Mhm.
really sort of engaging fully with the world. I kind of isolated a lot for a
Mhm.
while because on some level I didn't really want to be seen. I think, it really,
Okay.
I was kind of I suppose kind of afraid of other people's judgments and so forth, being surrounded by people's judgments and projections and so forth about who I was and what I was capable of and all of that sort of
Well,
stuff.
I can
So
relate to
it took a
that.
long time to work through that. Yeah, you have a lot of
I
experience
can
with
relate to
that,
that. It's
right?
been going on since day one.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
tell us about how it started um to work with you and how it helped you to did it have an impact on your spiritual connection?
It did. It did. There were periods where I really kind of I don't think I was really feeling a spiritual connection much at all for long periods. Like somewhere deep down inside of me that still existed, but it was hard to access.
Mhm.
And especially around, I would say, 2004, 2005, sort of around that era. I had been in and out of hospitals a lot. It was really taking its toll on me psychologically and emotionally.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was drinking too much and smoking too much weed and just kind of dissociating without even really realizing it. And that's one of the more challenging things, is when you're dissociating, but you're not actually realizing you're dissociating. It just kind of seems like being,
That
but
they
in
call trouble with
hindsight,
a capital T.
that's right. That's right. So that was where, that it took some time. And I would say to a certain degree, I was finding little insidious ways of avoiding a deeper truth for many, many years, finding various different ways of sort of unconsciously attracting things that would keep me limited, that would that would reinforce a sense of limitation, even though I wanted to be without limitation, but I would sort of unconsciously attract things that would keep that limited sense of self alive for a while.
I'm
And it took
sure.
a while to really experience the full vulnerabilities that was required.
Well, those are two amazing points, Sam, because I think most of our listeners can relate to A, distracting themselves from their adversity because of some difficult experience like shame or limitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you said really was so insightful. I can't remember what it was right now, but and the thing about that you um just didn't know where, like you didn't know that you were doing this distracting,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right. And that you kept choosing things that made you limited. And I can really relate to that. And I'm sure a lot of listeners that when the hellfire rises up, right, that you make choices that reiterate the belief that you have about yourself, really unconsciously, like, I don't deserve, I'm not enough, I can't really.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what was the turning point for you? Like how,
Um,
well, you mentioned vulnerability, so maybe we,
yeah. So it sort of happened in this kind of gradual way where in, let's see, about 2012, I was experiencing a lot of challenges in my relationship at the time. I got married in 2012. I'm now divorced, but was married in 2012, and I had a lot of dynamics happening inside of my relationship with my then wife that were really impossible to navigate without someone with some kind of help. And so we got coaching from a really, really good coach who always treated me with a tremendous amount of respect, but also really was able to helped me to identify where I was blocking myself.
nice.
And that really revealed a lot to me working with her for many years. And it was during that time that I actually recognized my own potential as a coach too, because I recognized that just the transformative
Yes.
power of having someone else see you and reflect honestly what they see back to you with the aim of helping you to grow through your own limitations. And before that, I never really had anyone in my life who had that role.
Yeah.
And so it gave me a tremendous amount of appreciation for the power of that role, which I still have today when I work with my own clients.
Beautiful. I'm a little teary because I had the exact same situation happen with me. And it was when somebody could help me see how I was getting in my own way, how I was
Mm,
banging my head against the wall, how I was creating the suffering. Not directly.
mm.
I mean, it was all through, just helping me become more and more aware till I had those awarenesses myself. And then I could change my behaviors. Once you
I
see,
want to know more about that. We have to talk about that over noodles sometime.
I'm ready. Anytime. So okay, so someone had an amazing capacity to see who you were and to work with you in a way that helped you to see beneath your doubts and your limited view and your probably unconscious victim something, undeservedness, right? And so,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and so
yeah.
what was like, was there a moment when sort of you had an aha, or
I think there
when you
were
talk about
many,
the
many aha
transformation?
moments, and I'm still getting those aha moments,
Yes,
and
I
which
think
is why I continue
I
to
think you are.
hire mentors and coaches who are at a very high level of consciousness
Me
and
too.
who are able to hold up an accurate mirror because those ahas, for me personally, I know some people have these like glimpses of something that's like, oh, the light goes off and they've changed forever. And I would say mine was like a little light here, a little light there, a little light here, a little light there, just kind of gradually expanding my field of awareness. And that is continuing to happen to this day. And I have a
Let's have a little break. I wanted to share with you about an incredible stress busting tool that I created called Tap for Joy. And it incorporates acupressure tapping, you may have heard of it, NLP, neuro linguistic programming, hypnosis, and somatic awareness into this mighty mouse of an app that can reduce stress and increase happiness. Check it out at Tap for Joy in the Apple Store, Tap for Joy, or an explainer video at tapforjoyapp.com. It will help you to come to center, reduce stress, have a better mood, be more amicable, boost your immune system, deal with past trauma, all kinds of things. There's also an upgrade you can get with lots of cool features. So check out Tap for Joy and tap your way to joy today. So let's get back to the interview now.
I think I've really cultivated a space of humility around what I don't know. I'm always looking for what I don't know to be revealed to me so that I can take in, oh, that's interesting. I had no idea I had even had that little insidious thought that was keeping me from whatever it is, so I think it's important for me personally to really embrace life from that perspective, from that vantage point of I don't know, but I'm curious. I'm really curious to know, not in a way that has any kind of judgment or self-consciousness to it, but as a way of creating usually minute little shifts that can ultimately have a great impact with time and practice.
Yeah, I love that, Sam, because it's like one of the hallmarks of an enlightened mind is being at peace with the unknown
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and losing your fear,
Yeah.
or dealing successfully or more successfully. I don't know if any of us deal successfully with the unknown, but more successfully, that you can actually trust that
Right.
what will unfold is something that will be for your betterment. And
Right.
life is here to love you. Life is
Right.
here for you, right? And
Absolutely.
I love that you're identifying this very key element, which is making peace with the unknown, allowing the unknown, and allowing like essential awareness of your essential nature to rise up out of the unknown and show you the truth about who you
Mm.
are instead of having you go along with the cultural conditioning around people in wheelchairs don't get to fill in the blank.
Exactly. Exactly. To me, it's really a moment by moment sort of self-diagnosis and sort of reorienting
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
I've given up the idea of ever like knowing myself as kind of an identity because I know that the identity is really, it's an externally facing thing. And like we use our biographies, we use our personalities as an externally facing tool, but that to me isn't really what's most important. Um, well, let's use the analogy of skiing, for example. I used to be an expert skier before my accident, and now I'm an expert level adaptive skier. So I've learned how to adapt to
Awesome.
using a sit ski, and I've actually even taught sit skiing a number of years ago. But I find that this skiing analogy, or you can use a surfing analogy equally as well, they are a very appropriate analogy because it doesn't really do me that much good to consider myself an expert skier. It's like, okay, whatever. So I know, kind of the slopes that I'm capable of going down. I understand the terrain that I'm able to be on. But what matters the most is the moment by moment, how am I balanced over the ski right now? How am I breathing? Am I aligned? Am I aware of my body? Am I aware of my breath? Am I aware of the ski? Am I aware of the terrain beneath me? All of those moment by moment adjustments are really, to me, what makes the sport compelling and also allows me to be good at skiing. It's not to I having a label of being an expert skier does not make me good at skiing. Being able to make fine-tune adjustments to my body and my breath and my mind in any given moment are what makes me good at skiing. And so this is really, this is analogous to what I'm working with when I'm working with my clients is study how you're being in each moment as though you're doing a sport or as though you're playing an instrument or as though you're doing something, because really we are in every moment. We are in this sort of physical, spiritual, mental balance with our bodies and with the earth all of the time. And that really, when you're attuned in that way, it doesn't really matter what your sense of identity is so much because you're attuning to the physical, mental experience of being alive inside of yourself.
I love that. And I think it also is the doorway to all possibilities. Because as long
Yes.
as you're holding yourself, and this is a big thing with, the no boundaries thing, right? As long
Yeah,
as
no
you're
barriers.
holding
Yeah.
yourself in a mental concept, which is empty and devoid of real meaning, of course,
Right.
but we hold as true and it has meaning, right? And has
Right.
power over us. But
Right.
when you are truly present, like what you're talking about, and attuning to your environment and tuning to your inner environment and your outer environment is how I would recap what you just said, and
Absolutely.
making the best choices so you get the best results, whatever it is that you want. Go fast, you want to traverse from side to side, you want to stop and talk to people, whatever, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And so I love that if you truly are being attuned to the moment that it's a technique kind of freeing yourself from the confines of those conditioned
That's
identities
right.
of who you are, what you are capable of what you're not capable, what you deserve, what you don't deserve, etc.
That's
So
right.
how
Yeah.
beautiful of a thing to share so succinctly and so clearly. Thank you so much. I
Oh, you're
learned
so
so much
welcome.
from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. And likewise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just spelled it out perfectly. Yeah, it's in that state of attunement and alignment with the inner environment and the external environment that you actually have choices. Like you said, you can go fast, you can go slow, you can traverse, you can stop and talk to people, but you only have choices when you're self-aware. When you're not self-aware, you are going one direction and one direction only. And it is not a direction that you are choosing, but a direction that feels like it's being chosen for you based on whatever patterns and beliefs that you're used to playing out in your mind.
Yeah.
And
And
so
my
absolutely.
my observation with that is the pattern, the direction is called what I call a downward spiral.
Hmm. Hmm.
That it
Yeah, it
brings
doesn't really
more
lead
more
anywhere.
limitation, more suffering, more despair, addiction, and the whole nine yards, right?
Yeah.
So
And addiction can be something that's not just drug and alcohol or porn or whatever. It
to
can also
clarify.
be addiction to certain thoughts. We can have, that's where it's more insidious, is where we are addicted to certain ways of perceiving ourselves. And then that addiction becomes the fundamental liability.
Yeah, because
And
our thoughts create our reality. Hello, personal development
exactly.
101, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, if we're addicted to the thoughts, and actually, Joe Dispenza says that great thing about if you're used to having a certain kind of chemistry going on by having anxious thoughts, and you make a choice to stop the anxious thoughts, it's just like the heroin addict who decides to stop doing heroin. It's like your body is chemically addicted to that. If it's despair, or if it's isolation, or if it's loneliness, or if it's being discombobulated, whatever the thing
Right.
is that how you run your energy, how you show up,
Yeah.
that and so this is when I'm gonna again make a call out for the importance of having a guide, of having
Absolutely.
someone who has evolved more, ahead of us, and who can see our divine light and can help us to recognize how we're getting our own way and see that divine, more importantly, to see that divine light and recognize that that is the truth of who we are. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly.
how did your life change when you started to attune to the moment, be with the unknown, and let that kind of the openness be your guide?
I would say it has changed in every single manner possible. It is so much more enjoyable and it is so much more free. And it is, I mean, I
Uh,
every day I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing because I'm the one choosing my direction versus feeling like there's any kind of force that is choosing my direction for me. And that is the most freeing thing imaginable. And now I have friends, colleagues, etc., who are all who have been magnetized by that frequency of freedom, the frequency that I'm operating from. Whereas before, I would attract certain people and circumstances into my life that would be a match for that.
Hey, let's have a little break. And I wanted to share with you about one of my superpowers, which is helping people get through really tough stresses, difficulties, issues, and even trauma or traumas. Lots of people have worked with other people and said, I couldn't break through, but with you, I could. And not only do I help you like get to break through, but also help you to pull back the layers of stress, melt the ice of frozen energy inside of you, and give you access to the beautiful ocean of creative intelligence that's inside of you and all its qualities like strength, courage, wisdom, joy, laughter, and compassion, etc. So chatwithpeggy.us is my scheduling, and sign up for a discovery call. You can work with me one-on-one on phone, Zoom, in person over time, or come to my hometown for a weekend intensive. I look forward to working with you that way if your heart is so drawn.
Unconscious victimhood mentality where I wasn't choosing my full power, I would be constantly attracting things to affirm that so that it would continue to reinforce that perspective. And now I
So,
keep
yes, I want to
attracting,
make a point there that
yeah,
whether you're seeing yourself as limited and deficient, or if you're seeing yourself as a divine light and in total celebration, you attract that.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
The thing about manifestation that most people don't recognize is that manifestation is happening so fully and completely on every moment in every moment we cannot help but be manifestors. It's so funny when you hear someone say I'm either like great at manifesting or I am challenged with manifest. No, you're not. You are actually manifesting exactly what your system has chosen to manifest right now for the particular place of learning and evolution that you're in right now. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here for you in your life as it is.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that we get really honest with ourselves because we can manifest if we are making excuses for why we're not in our full power, we are going to manifest experiences that reflect that exact thing, just in the
Yeah, I
same
would
way,
add
just
in
like
there
you
the word,
said.
I would add in there joy, our full
Mhm.
power and our full joy.
Right, right, right. I put those two things together really
Yeah.
as the same
Well,
basic
that's because
thing.
you're a guy,
Power and yeah. Yeah,
a
yeah.
burly guy, a
Yeah.
big, muscly, burly guy. So
Mhm.
anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, no problem.
Okay.
I agree
So
completely.
two times this thought's come up, and so I'm gonna mention it, which is I was having a conversation with which is the nature of the trickiness of the limited self or the ego identity to keep us under wraps and to not, even when we say we're going to do this thing at New Year's and we take on these new practices and maybe even get a coach or a spiritual teacher and go do sit on the cushion, and like we're doing all of these things, but we still keep creating the same scenario again and again. I mean, maybe some things sort of on the peripheral change, but the thing that is your real heart's desire does not change. And I
Yeah.
think that I want to see if you can speak to that for a moment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what you're sharing with me, what that brings up for me is, and even as I'm saying brings up for me, et cetera, what you're sharing with me is we are constantly applying this personal pronoun to everything. I, me, my experience, et cetera, et cetera. It is so insidious and it shadows our awareness in every moment, so much so that it attaches, and we believe that that voice is part of the absolute reality. But that
The
voice
ownership,
is
the ownership is
constantly,
real.
yeah, that voice is constantly creating a self-consciousness loop that is impossible to get out of at the level of the loop.
Yeah.
So that's what you're why you're like that's what I'm hearing about the insidiousness of it is the self-conscious loop is constantly going, I am having this experience, I am this, I am that, I am spiritually evolving, I'm sitting on this meditation cushion, I am this, I'm trying to improve myself. The the and you brought up Dispenza earlier. One of the things the title of the book that I really like is breaking the habit of being yourself. So the self-conscious sort of looping that is so habitual that we believe that it is essential. But actually, the true self is not bound by a singular identity. The true self is in alignment with divine consciousness and recognizing that we are imposing this story, this narrative about ourselves and our experience on every moment. That's the tricky thing that needs to be broken if one wants to really expand past that insidious, repetitive, continuing to be, you might find out that your goals aren't even related to what you thought they were because your goals were coming from a limited idea of who you were in the first place.
Or
So,
the goals that someone else imposed on you or pressured
exactly.
you to fulfill for their gratification or their feeling of not being shamed of their kid or their student or whatever.
Yeah, mom and dad's unlived dreams, or
That
the culture's expectations, or whatever is alive inside of you that doesn't even really belong to you, but is part of some idea, some meme that was downloaded into your psyche. Yeah.
So you've touched on so many amazing things today, Sam, and I would love to continue our conversation for a long time. And I want to give my listeners an option to get back to their life. So I just want to do a little recap here of mentioning some of the amazing things that you talked about. Is that okay?
Oh, sure, sure.
Okay,
I
you
was
can.
hoping to go on for hours. I
I know you were
respect your
so
audience's
sorry that I
time.
wasn't Joe Rogan and doing a 2 hour interview. Um, Well, I see that could easily happen and maybe we'll do that again another time.
Sure thing.
So, but some of the things that I thought that you touched on that were so amazing was that one of the thing I was really impressed about was that you sort of bore through the process of your illness and your increased complications with bed sores and all that stuff, right? That you persevered through all of that, and then that you started to kind of I think that you mentioned that you went to coaching and that you brought in a person, a witness of your higher self
Mhm.
that started to mirror to you and started to probably ask you some powerful questions that was helping you to get out of that uh limitedness. We could talk a lot about whatever all the details of that, right? And then you started making space for the unknown and trusting that life loves you and opening up to the moment, presencing practices where you're aware of what's going on inside and what's going on outside, and attuning to the moment so that you could optimize your experience, right? And then choices, of course, choosing who we are and what we want to create and noticing our power as manifester. What else would you say that I missed That
I
was
think you
really
pretty much covered all the bases.
important.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other thing that you would like to leave our audience with on the topic of your journey from adversity to awakening, transforming your hardships into greater spiritual connection and joy?
Yeah, well, it's going to probably sound trite, but there is an infinite power that resides inside of you, no matter what your circumstances are. And I know that if I've tapped into it, that others can tap into it as well. And it really is a process of developing a deeper and deeper and more profoundly insightful relationship with the entire body, because the entire body is the nervous system. It's not just your head, it's not just your thoughts. Developing that inquisitive, curious, moment by moment relationship with your entire body is the best way of getting out of a limited perspective that is based in thought.
Very beautiful. So, what is the thought process if you want to become more aware of your body, of your thoughts?
Recognizing that your attention and your thoughts are different things. Where
Different.
you place your attention doesn't have to be on the constant stream of thoughts. You can
Yeah.
place your attention, just like meditation teachers and yogis have taught for thousands of years. You can place your attention on your breath. You can place your attention on the source of thought versus thought itself. What is the source of thought? You
Yeah,
can
that's a good
place your attention on the
question.
sensations of energy inside of your body. You can take your attention is up to you where you place it.
Yes. And I'd like to share on that topic from my practice. I'm a student of the Diamond Approach, and my teacher, Hamid, shares something similar to what you said a little while ago about there not being complete. Like there's no end to our development, right? Like you're not an expert coach, you're not an expert speaker, you're in the process of becoming a better whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his whole
Mm-hmm.
thing is
Mm-hmm.
that the enlightenment process, there is no final state of consciousness. It's just the mystery of life just continues to deepen and open to more and more wonder, dimensions, and amazement. So
I love
you
that.
guys are very much in alignment that way. And the practice that we do in with that is inquiry. And so the question that I often ask myself is, uh, what's the truth of my experience now? And I
Mm.
look inward and notice what's happening inside my emotional body, my physical body, and I take in also what's going on with my environment. And as I just stay, and there's a process of inquiry that we do where we share with another person and speak without being interrupted for a while and follow that thread of what's happening. And invariably, it's like a portal to the dimension of your whole self, of your true self. And I'd be happy to share it with anybody that
I
process
love that.
anytime. It's like yeah, it's and it was like I also related to when you said you had many ahas. This for me has been like many, many, many ahas of knowing that the culture has an idea that little people are less than, but I'm I don't relate to that at all anymore. So um yeah. Anyway,
You've used that as a perfect foundation for your own growth and evolution, which I think is something that we share in common, is that we have taken our physical circumstances and gone, oh, how can I use this for my soul's evolution versus looking at it from the perspective of limitation.
well, the thing that's interesting about that, and it's relevant to our topic, is that I didn't start out like that. I just wanted to be happy.
Sure.
Yeah. I
Sure.
was like, I'm miserable. I'm suffering. I'm banging my head against the wall here. I want to have a different experience. And as I got help and applied myself and was a lot of qualities like determination, persistence, honesty, courage, all of that developed in me. And I was able to walk the path. And then I started having all these amazing spiritual, awarenesses and connections. And I found that then actually I could connect with another person in a real way. And I could connect with nature in a way that touched me in a very deep way, etc. And then the quality of my life, it wasn't about being happy anymore. It was about having a life that was like gems.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
You found something deeper than happiness.
exactly. So you
I love
too, my friend.
it.
So, Mr.
Hmm.
Zen Warrior, thank you for being with us today. I'm so
Thank you,
happy.
Peggy.
Yeah, it's really fantastic to
It's
chat
been a
with you in
pleasure.
this way. Thank you for sharing all of your vulnerability, your struggles, being honest, your kindness, and your wisdom. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on your show.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for being a fan of the podcast, and I would love if you would subscribe. Also, wanted to remind you about that mighty little app, Tap for Joy, and share with you about the amazing features for just $5 a month, like a no brainer, right? You're going to get some amazing tools for decreasing stress and increasing happiness, like a happy memory journal, which rewires your brain for happiness. You're going to get a bunch of customized tapping dialogues, which pinpoint and target your stress areas, a learn center, a bunch of other stuff, and a 5-day challenge. Highly recommend that for getting the most out of your results for decreasing stress and increasing happiness. So check out Tap for Joy, download it now in the Apple Store, try it out. You'll be surprised and amazed at how amazing it is, how remarkable it is, and how transforming it is. And I will see you on the next episode. So long for now.